For decades, Windows was not just an operating system. It was a habit, it was routine, it was muscle memory. For millions of people around the world, Windows was the first computer experience they ever had. The first mouse click, the first blue screen, the first time a PC froze 5 minutes before an assignment deadline. Windows became the default, not because everyone loved it, but because it was simply there. In offices, schools, cybercafes, homes, and government buildings, Windows quietly became synonymous with using a computer. So when people talk about switching from Windows to Linux, they often frame it as a technical decision. Faster performance, better security, open source freedom, no licensing fees. But what rarely gets discussed are the human stories behind that switch. The frustration, fear, curiosity, resistance, pride, failure, and relief that come with abandoning something familiar for something unknown. Because for most people, switching operating systems is not just about software. It is about identity, control, and trust. The story usually begins with a problem, not curiosity, not ideology. A problem. For some, it starts with a Windows update that breaks everything. A laptop that was working fine the night before suddenly boots into a loop of updates and restarts. Fans spin loudly. The system crawls. The task manager shows background processes consuming memory like a black hole. The user didn't ask for this update, they didn't approve it. It just happened. And now their computer feels like it no longer belongs to them. For others, it's hardware. An older laptop that Windows has quietly abandoned. Each new version of Windows demands more RAM, more storage, more CPU power. A machine that once felt fast becomes unusable. Even though nothing is physically broken, the hardware still works. The screen still lights up. The keyboard still types, but the software has decided it's obsolete. This is often where the first seed of Linux is planted. Someone searches online, how to make old laptop faster, Windows slow after update, alternative to Windows, and eventually they see the word Linux. At first it looks intimidating. Strange names, Ubuntu, Mint, Fedora, Arch, screenshots that don't look like Windows, terminal windows with text commands, forums full of jargon. It feels like a world not meant for normal users. Most people close the tab, but some don't. There is a certain type of frustration that pushes people past fear. When you feel like your computer is actively working against you, curiosity becomes a survival instinct, and so they click one more link. They watch one YouTube video, then another. They hear phrases like Linux respects your hardware or Linux gives you control. That idea control hits something deep. The first attempt to install Linux is rarely smooth. People underestimate how emotional that moment is. Backing up files feels like packing belongings before moving to a foreign country. There's anxiety. What if something goes wrong? What if I lose everything? What if I can't get back to Windows? There is comfort in the familiar, even when the familiar has been painful. Many first installs fail. Wi-Fi doesn't work. The screen resolution is wrong, sound is missing. The user panics. They Google frantically, they feel stupid. This is why people don't use Linux. They think many give up right there, reinstalling Windows and telling themselves Linux is not ready for normal people. But those who persist experience something rare in modern technology. Progress earned, not handed. The moment Linux boots successfully for the first time is often described the same way across cultures, ages, and professions. Quiet, fast, clean, no pop-ups, no ads, no finish setting up your device, just a desktop waiting patiently. The computer feels lighter, as if it took a deep breath. For some, the biggest shock is how old hardware suddenly feels young again. Laptops that struggled to open a browser on Windows now boot in seconds. Fans stay silent. Battery life improves. The system doesn't beg for updates every hour, it simply works. This is where the emotional shift begins. A student in India installs Linux Mint on a decade-old laptop because he can afford a new one. At first, it's about survival, finishing assignments, learning programming, staying competitive. But over time, he realizes something deeper. His system isn't spying on him. It isn't pushing products. It isn't deciding things for him. It's a tool, not a product. That realization changes how he sees technology. A graphic designer in Europe switches to Linux out of frustration with forced subscriptions and system slowdowns. She expects compromise. Instead, she discovers open-source tools that give her freedom and stability. She stops fearing updates. She stops budgeting for licenses. Her computer becomes predictable again, and that predictability reduces stress in ways she didn't expect. A system administrator in South America makes the switch after years of managing Windows servers. At first, Linux feels brutal. No hand-holding, no graphical wizards, just text and logic. But slowly, something clicks. Systems stop crashing. Logs make sense. Automation becomes easier. He sleeps better because his servers are no longer fragile. For him, Linux is not just software, it's peace of mind. Then there are the emotional battles. Linux demands learning. Windows trained users to click and forget. Linux invites users to understand that invitation can feel like an insult to people who don't identify as technical. Many struggle with the terminal at first. Commands look like spells. Errors feel personal. But over time, something powerful happens. People stop feeling helpless. They learn how their system boots, how software is installed, where files live. They learn that problems are solvable, not mysterious. This shift is deeply human. It's the difference between being a passenger and being a driver. One of the most common stories among Linux users is the moment they fix something themselves. Not by reinstalling the entire system, but by understanding the issue. That moment creates confidence, and confidence changes how people interact with technology forever. But Linux is not a fairy tale. There are losses. Some software doesn't exist. Some games don't run perfectly. Some hardware requires effort. Some workflows break. People miss familiar applications. They feel isolated when friends can't help because they don't use Linux. This loneliness is rarely acknowledged, but it's real. Yet for many, the trade-off is worth it. Linux users often describe a strange sense of ownership. Not in a legal sense, but an emotional one. The system feels like theirs. No telemetry dashboards, no forced cloud accounts, no hidden processes they didn't consent to. When something changes, it's usually because they chose it. This sense of agency is powerful, especially in a world where technology increasingly feels invasive. There are also stories of return. People who try Linux, love parts of it, but go back to Windows. And that's okay. Not every journey is permanent, but even those users often say something interesting. After Linux, Windows feels different, heavier, louder, less transparent. Even if they return, they are changed. Then there are those who never go back. They become advocates, not because Linux is perfect, but because it represents a philosophy, one where users are not the product, one where communities matter, not hidden. They help others install Linux, they answer forum questions, they write guides, they contribute in small ways, not for money, but for meaning. This is the part of Linux that statistics never capture, the human network, the generosity, the shared struggle. Linux is not winning because of marketing. It's winning because of stories passed quietly between people who felt ignored by mainstream technology. People who wanted their computers to serve them, not the other way around. The switch from Windows to Linux is rarely instant. It's a process, a series of compromises and discoveries, a negotiation between comfort and freedom. And for many, it's not just about operating systems. It's about reclaiming a sense of control in a digital world that increasingly takes it away. In the end, Linux doesn't promise perfection, it promises honesty. And for millions of people, that honesty is worth the effort. Because the untold truth is this: people don't switch to Linux because they hate Windows. They switch because they want their technology to respect them. And once someone experiences that respect, it's very hard to forget.